It's been a while, so what's been going on? The last main devlog was posted all the way back in January, and it has probably occurred to you that it is now, in fact, much later in the year. Unfortunately, my full-time job and other personal issues got in the way, but I'm pleased to say that lots of progress has been made in the meantime. If you have no idea what all of this is about, I'm setting out to make my own space-themed MMO as a solo developer, inspired by games such as Battlestar Galactica Online, Frontier, and offline games such as X4 Foundations. The goal is to create a casual MMO that values player time, making it easy to get into action and work towards your own goals. I strongly suggest checking out the first video I made to get more of an idea of the foundation of the project and where it all started. Since the last devlog, so much progress has been made across so many different systems that I'm going to be listing them all in no particular order. I've included timestamps so you can skip to the sections you are most interested in. But before we get into that, a couple of important things. One, I now have a website and a Discord server, so if you want to get involved, see more regular updates, provide feedback and be the first to test the pre-alpha version of the game, links are in the video description. Oh, and 70% of you aren't subscribed? Don't miss the next devlog. As combat is one of the primary activities in the game, getting a functional first version was one of my main priorities. For this, we needed a few things. 1. We need the modular equipment system for ships. Players must be able to equip their ships with weapons, other systems and modules with which to use in combat. 2. We need to extend our NPC behaviour to allow them to identify targets, chase, engage and fight other NPCs and players, essentially looking like this. Here you can see the Unity Inspector setup for configuring a given spawn based on the parameters I have added. Like before, we have the default configuration, such as patrol radius, NPC ship type, and name. For now, I've implemented a basic respawn window if the ship is destroyed, which will work well for fixed spawn areas. Below this, however, you can see how different parameters are directly affecting combat. Every NPC and player now belongs to a faction, which determines its relations to other NPCs and players. In this example, we can see the faction is Pirate, which essentially makes it hostile to every other faction. We can make individual settings for aggression range and leash radius, the distance beyond its normal patrol area it is willing to chase enemies. Lastly, we can equip each NPC ship with a custom set of weapons for it to utilise during combat. With just these basic ingredients and proper rule-bound targeting and engagement calculations, we now have emergent combat playing out in our sectors. The modular ship equipment system in Project Cosmos works very similarly to Battlestar Galactica Online. All ships have a set of base stats, and on top of that have a number of slots for the player to apply modules to, across weapons, engines, computer systems, armour, and later more. These modules tend to do either one of two things: A. Provide an ability to be actively used, or B. Provide a passive stat change to the ship. While I want to keep the combat system constrained to only a basic working version, I felt it was important to create varied weapon types to provide clear combat styles and tactics. So let's talk about the core weapon archetypes so far. At present, we are starting with 3 core weapon types. 1. Kinetic cannons. Instant damage application, but limited accuracy, especially when targeting smaller ships. 2. Missile launchers. Delayed damage application, but always hits if physical connection is made, and also longer range. And 3. Point defense. Defense lasers for countering missiles that work passively. Cannons and missiles also come in different variants. For cannons, standard, auto and long range variants exist, trading DPS for range and vice versa. Missiles come in standard and long distance variants, but also have a special swarmer variant. Point defense is our dedicated anti-missile weapon system, and all weapons can use multi-targeting, allowing you to split your modules across different targets. Unlike a normal weapon, point defense doesn't need manual targeting. If hostile missiles are actively heading for your ship, Point Defense automatically identifies the nearest incoming threat inside its defense radius, begins tracking it with a continuous interception beam. Each module can focus on one incoming missile at a time, burning through that missile's interception health before it reaches the ship. After a sustained engagement, it has a short cooldown, so timing, range, and the number of incoming missiles all matter. That's where swarmer missiles come in. Instead of firing one heavy missile, a swarmer launcher releases 6 real missiles in rapid burst, all heading for the same target but spaced slightly apart in flight. Each missile is individually weaker and easier to destroy than a standard missile, but Point Defense still has to deal with them one by one. So, Point Defense is good at removing isolated missiles, while swarmer launchers aim to overload it through volume. If the defender has enough Point Defense coverage, they can thin out the salvo. If they don't, some of those missiles are likely to break through. Obviously, this is all just a first working version, but you can see the direction. Clear roles and varied weapon types designed to specifically counter other systems and ships. Our sector map is a live, top-down view of the current system. You can pan, zoom, filter contacts, focus your ship, and select objects in the world. I have to say this UI is entirely placeholder, so try not to read too much into it. It reads the same live entity state used by the sector itself, then projects players, NPCs, stations, and discovered asteroids into the top-down tactical view. From there, Travel To lets your ship automatically align, enter travel mode, continuously update its heading towards the target, and slow down at an appropriate arrival distance, which is manually set on each object type. Outside the map, the same sensor data drives nearby faction-coloured brackets, entity names, and distance readouts. Ships and stations appear at roughly 300 units, asteroid labels appear closer at 200, and can be revealed through using the new asteroid scanner module. The goal is one shared sensor system, the map for navigation, sensors for immediate spatial awareness, and the target HUD for combat decisions. Later on, this will turn into a more comprehensive intelligence and recon system, with dedicated ships and deployables for detecting enemies at longer range and sharing that information with your faction or group. Editor's note, I've also implemented a threat detection system. When targeting an NPC, you now get to see low, medium, or high threat based on the ship's health and also what weapons it has slotted to give you an idea as to whether you have a good chance of winning the fight. We now have a version 1 of mining, and mining starts with mining lasers. You target an asteroid, activate an equipped laser, and it mines in timed pulses. Each laser has its own range, pulse speed, and random yield range, so larger mining equipment delivers stronger extraction over time. Every successful pulse moves the asteroid's resource directly into the ship's cargo hold. Once the hold is full, mining stops until you return to a station and move the materials into storage. Depleting an asteroid removes it from the field until its respawn timer completes. Quick editor's note, it is also worth pointing out that this is only the version 1 for mining. There are plans later down the line with the introduction of a drone system and various other things to add a bit more complexity to the mining system, although the aim is still to keep it relatively simple. I've begun adding the groundwork for an initial skill system, though this remains incomplete. Experience in combat can be gained through contributions to killing other ships. To avoid kill farming via getting last hits, like in many games, to be eligible to receive XP, you must have dealt at least 10% of the damage, compared to other players and NPCs. If you have contributed over 10%, the XP reward is split proportionally between the contributors. Killing bigger ships offer bigger gains. With each level gained, the following one will be much harder, making for fast initial leveling and slower later leveling. For now, levels don't hold much meaning, so more on that on the next devlog. The UI and HUD has also received some extra functionality and development. mostly around these new features. All ship modules with active abilities, such as weapons, now dynamically display as a hotbar at the bottom right of the screen, split by module category. Any modules which can be assigned to a target will show up in the target HUD. Player level is now displayed next to your name, and current progress display on the top center. A dedicated repair mode has been added in conjunction with a combat status flag. Rather than having passively regenerating HP, your ship will only be able to regenerate passively outside of combat with the mode selector. Information layer toggle has been added, allowing you to disable all text overlays in the world should you wish to take in the view without distraction. A new safety mode toggle preventing you from accidentally shooting neutral targets, such as a civilian faction, unless of course you are looking to become a pirate. I've added a basic top bar to house various menus and game functionality, such as game exit and basic settings menu, though of course this needs dedicated work at a later point. Currency is also displayed, and last but not least, the radar now correctly displays ships within sensor range and colours them accordingly to faction. Project Cosmos now supports multiple connected sectors rather than one single shared map. Each sector is its own Unity scene and its own authoritative sector server. That means that each server independently runs its local NPCs, stations, asteroids, combat, jump gates, and player movement. It gives us a cleaner foundation for expanding the universe without trying to simulate every location in one process. Sectors are connected through jump gates. Every gate has its own ID, destination sector, and destination gate. When a player approaches and activates a gate, the current sector server validates the jump, saves the player's current state, and issues a handover to the destination server. In preparation for small-scale pre-alpha testing, a total of 9 sectors have been added, with all jump gate connections mapped out like so. Long term, the plan is to build this out to a much more expansive universe, with busy, well-connected core sectors and distant, low-traffic areas, and even uncharted space. Sectors will form the core part of the game experience, with factions fighting to gain control of them, then building up and developing individual sectors through activity, supply of resources, and other interactions, which in turn provides benefits to the sector. Sectors themselves can vary greatly from one to the other, whether it is down to resources, sector-wide effects, threat level, and station supplies. But this system still needs to be built out. The development hasn't just been to the game itself, but in building up the infrastructure around the project as we move towards pre-alpha testing. The game now has a dedicated Windows launcher that handles installation, updates, file verification, repair, and launching the game client. It checks the current production build manifest, downloads only changed files where possible, verifies them with file hashes, and prevents players from launching an incomplete or outdated build. The launcher also provides a lightweight front end for news, community links, and live server status, so players can immediately see whether the game services are available before launching. So, from a technical standpoint, Project Cosmos is now technically installable and playable worldwide, though, of course, access to the launcher is currently restricted until the right time for testing. There's a lot of other things that have been added, such as sound effects, refactored, improved, that I haven't brought up in this video, mostly to save it from being hours long. This video was mostly just to catch up on some of the core things, show off some footage, and hopefully I'll be able to make some more specific devlogs in more detail more frequently as I go forward. Don't forget to join the Discord and drop a like and subscribe to support the project. Have a great day.